Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of Colney Talk Podcast, a bite-sized show. I'm your host, Alex. First-time guest, happy to have you here. And to my returning listeners, thanks for joining me. On this bite-sized show, I talk a little bit about Arsenal game and then pick out my top 3 Arsenal players who I think were great in the game and one player I consider the odd one, who just had a poor game or not good enough, who just needs to be called out. Champions League Matchday 2, Lens host Arsenal, a disappointing loss. Arsenal facing an intense-looking team in Lens. It looked like an intimidating ground for this Matchday 2. Arsenal were put in a lot of defensive situations for the first few minutes of the half. They were handling it well, really good answer to the pressure they were in and how they were able to get away with certain kinds of press situations that they were in. They stayed poised, and Arsenal were just able to still keep the ball in front. And with that, they were able to pounce on a rather soft press, and Jesus just did not waste time on his first chance to get us going, and he got us the first goal, which was what a really good finish from him. It was an excellent way to quiet down the crowd. Odegaard getting picked off twice, receiving the ball when we just try to reset ourselves to just keep going. It was just something to keep an eye on, and I think it just grew more in that situation. But with Rice bust in the middle, we didn't really look exposed, although it wasn't just that situation alone. We just got caught up in very tight duels against this Lens team. Arsenal in firm control, dominating when in possession, driving away from Lens pressure, and Raya started doing good things in distribution, looking good, but I guess just one bad mistake from that, Lens just got themselves on the score sheet. They pounced on the mistake from a bad pass in a way and got themselves an equalizer. So that got the home team back on their spirits, got their voice back. I will say it was a good goal from Thomason. And then a worrisome sight, really worrisome sight, just having Saka go down. All the questions start coming out, all the worries, and just gets all the way flustered in our heads, mine as well. Not good seeing him go down that way. Vieira had to come in replacing him, and that was just, it was necessary, and it was just a way to see if we can continue maintaining the attacking form that we had. But Lens just stayed tight on us, and when we were in possession, they just really, pounced on us really hard. I mean, it wasn't that easy going forward. Trossard didn't look like the goal threat that he was, and just because we lost some spark with Saka didn't mean we should lose everything. And Arsenal didn't get back into the goal scoring form, or at least were working themselves back to it. They kept trying to no success, trying to feel their ways through, and then it became more of ball management, and that was it for the whistle for halftime. And then at the start of the second, no tactical change, no necessary just yet. And I think this would probably be something you can consider where the players should get a chance to get themselves into the game, grow into the game, Trossard especially. But he had a chance to score, but it was just a lucky bounce for the keeper, and he got a save from that. And I think that was much of what I can recall when it came to Trossard. Now, as it looked, we just needed more of Trossard's spark. We had some good possessive moments. The team couldn't generate meaningful penetration in the box, and it just was a battle. Their center back was tough, and he was just knocking down all of Jesus' disruptions. Credit to Jesus, he just didn't stop, though. He kept doing all that he could to affect that defensive back line and create some chaos to really get ourselves going from an attacking position, or at least, dispossessing the players when they got the ball there. Lens were not giving Arsenal much breathing room at all, as I said. I noticed how we were pushed back really hard to go long, and it definitely makes all sense now as a game plan to force Arsenal's way to go long and do a lot of clearances, which we did. the few sequence of passes we got going, but we just dropped off when we just had one missed pass or easy dispossession and kind of broke up the flow. And we had so many of those broken flows going from the left side. The home supporters were giving their team a lot of energy. It was an emotional game for them, given their recent air quotes here transformation. So they were really, up for this game. And Arsenal, in turn, seeing the situations that they dealt with, start playing cagey. I mean, who would blame them? But I mean, I knew they can kind of come out of it, but for the most part, it just became squandered possession, and that had us look caught out a lot, which was really poor. And we just looked less effective in attack, trying to build from the back. A bit of frustration from Arsenal losing composure, and Lawns were just winning most of the duels, and that was the opportunity where they got us, and they felt like they were able to do more of that, and it opened us up so much more. It looked like they had sensed it and quickly capitalized on it, and Lawns just generated a good counterattack, which led to their well coordinated second goal. Oh, we got punished for that really hard. It was just something that we were not able to recover quickly in time for. So now 2-1, Arsenal were chasing the lead. We still have the challenges. You would think Odegaard, Jesus, and Trossard were enough to make an offensive impact. Well, that's the complexity of football, folks. On paper, it's not the same as on the field, and certain teams you play, no matter the positions or where or which league, when it comes to a matchup, it can always be like a very tough one. So, Lawns for us really were a tough one, and they were on top of us in terms of physicality. They easily overpowered Arsenal. I was looking for a steady hand, and that was Rice, but looked stretched in most of the coverage that he was given for the back line, and trying to make sure he can cloud any kinds of threats. Yet he covered up quite a lot. If anything, I didn't think we were overrun from the middle, which he did do well in terms of making sure that none of that happened. He was a bull. Lawns were really organized, and we needed to change our tactics. Since we lost Saka, we just had to change personnel to create meaningful chances and stay within their box. Given their defensive structure, Arsenal had to keep working the ball, trying to open up spaces. Odegaard wasn't really dancing. I was thinking, knowing how comfortable he is in tight spaces and with his dribbling and how he's able to pull away to make spaces, it was really ineffective. He wasn't calling for the ball or just pulling away defenders as much as he would on the right, which with just 49 touches for our most creative playmaker, that was subpar an amount of touches that he needs and to even make something happen for the game. It's possible with less, but not with a small heat map on the right for Odegaard. And that really says a lot when Saka is not on the pitch. It's just a humbling admission here. Emil Smith-Rowe was the player that came on, and he was trying to create something. I love how eager he was to drive forward, but it looked harder and harder. But something happened. We had a goal line chance, a good one. We just couldn't get our way through. It was unfortunate, and that was the chance. High frustrations and scuffles after that. I know I would be frustrated too. The team kept pushing with corner kicks, kept trying, and that was it until the final whistle. And we just got our first loss, a humbling loss. This one. So on to my top performers. First player, Rice. He was immense in the game, as I alluded. I think this is the type of physicality that he enjoys. He tackled, he broke up passes, blocked off a number of threats, and was majorly involved in the build-up phase. With 102 touches on the ball, he was really in the game. It could easily have been a draw or win, given the number of chances we had. We just didn't convert that pretty well. So his influence clearly was reflective on how we absorbed how we absorbed the press. So that was a top play from Rice in this game. Second player, Tomiyasu. He was defensively up for this game, and he linked up well with Saka. I think his decision making, duels, and alertness were top notch. To show how valuable he was, he switched to the left back position, making room for Ben White, and wasn't even struggling. He had a direct shot to goal, and that was blocked. Would have been a neat first goal to his name. I think to me this was one of his best performances, playing a bit more forward. Tomiyasu has clearly stepped up his game, and I think that has lifted his spirits and confidence in how he's playing now, and also contributing up front. So kudos to him. Third and final player, Jesus, worked hard to disrupt Lens' backline, had a few good chances, got the front players involved. He was the physical front man we needed, but unfortunately, he met his match and didn't get away with much success. Although that didn't stop him from fighting on. He just would keep fighting until he's taken away or something happens. And his influence got us really close to scoring, and so that's a positive there for him. And he did play to those standards. For my odd player today, I just have to go with Trossard. I did expect a lot from him. This was a game I was looking to see his dribbling and drives into the box show up. Not to take anything from Lens' defensive structure, he barely caused a threat on the left. I really expected much more from him. I can understand finding his rhythm in the first half, but in the second, not much difference at all. So I just have to call him out. I really didn't expect him to show up and really perform, but that just didn't happen. Well, that is our first loss. Pretty sure the team will learn from this. Now we turn the page and gear up for a really, really big one this weekend. Keep your head up, boys. You've been doing well all through. Big prayers for Saka. All right, so that would do for this episode. Please share and subscribe. Talk to you all later. Take care.